If you've ever handed out treats to eager trick-or-treaters, you've probably run into a kid who seems just a bit too old to be ringing your doorbell. Now, some towns in the Hampton Roads area in Virginia appear to have solved that problem. Jail time for offenders. Joining me now to discuss this is Molly Barrows, legal journalist for the Trial Lawyer magazine. Molly, what the heck's going on here?
I know, and let me just say, I know it's not the hardest hitting legal story, but, you know, we're coming up on the Halloween holiday, and it seems fitting to talk about, certainly folks in this area, some of them are a little bit up in arms about this law. So in the Chesapeake area, which includes Southampton and the city, they've made it basically a class 4 misdemeanor to be trick-or-treating out over the age of 12. You're not allowed to go out trick-or-treating if you're over the age of 12, and you're not supposed to be out past 8. They're saying, you know, 6 to 8 is a good enough time for folks to get out there and trick-or-treat. But if you're over the age of 12 and if you're out past 8, you could be facing some serious problems. I mean, you're talking about a fine of between $2,500, maybe even a jail sentence of up to 30 days, Farron. So folks are a little concerned about this. They're like, hey, what's the big deal? We should just be out trick-or-treating and enjoy ourselves. This is a holiday to celebrate children's independence, you know, dress up like a ghost, go door to door. Maybe you're old enough to do it without your parents at that point. But they're serious. They don't want any problems.
You know, this to me, little bit crazy sounding, just because this is something, obviously, if a kid gets arrested for this and gets a class 4 misdemeanor,
right,
this is something that's going to stay on that kid's record. This is something that then has to be, you know, you fill out a college application. This is something that's going to come up. This could ruin their lives because they wanted to go trick-or-treating. I mean, what's the reason for these new rules? I mean, is there a reason that they're wanting to do this?
Yes, there is a reason. And basically, they're trying to cut down on any Halloween hooligans who might be up to any shenanigans like vandalism, sneaking up, destroying public property, whether it's Halloween decorations or smashing jack-o'-lanterns in the street. And it's easier sometimes to get away with that when you've got lots of people in the streets at night doing their things and teenagers get a little wild and crazy and, you know, maybe get carried away. So I think this was more of a deterrent, and that's what the folks at the city of Chesapeake are saying, as well as their local law enforcement. Hey, we're not really going to arrest you. I mean, we might, kind of, but really what they're saying, public statements, is this isn't intended to frighten you. It's just to make you aware that there are serious consequences. We don't want any rebel rousers out there, a few bad apples. So just know that this is a potential punishment if you are out there causing problems, but they're not actively looking for people who are violating these rules. And in fact, parents are allowed to be out. I mean, you know, if they were such sticklers for it, you'd have a 5-year-old walking around without their parents because, like, I'm sorry, can I see your ID? It's after 8 p.m. You're not supposed to be here.
At least they're not doing any kind of like stop and frisk or say turn over your papers.
Can I see your ID?
Yeah, make sure you're under the age of 12. But they're not alone, though, right? I mean, that's the scariest part, is that Chesapeake's not, like, this is not a unique, like, this weird little town is doing this.
No, you're right.
Other people are doing it.
Newport News, Suffolk, Norfolk, Portsmouth, these are all same communities that saying you can't go out trick-or-treating if you're over the age of 12. And they also want folks, of course, to be accompanied by a guardian if they are younger than that. So it's interesting. There are a lot of folks in Chesapeake, though, who don't want to see this happen. They want to see this law repealed. And it's really a city code more so than a law, but it still carries, you know, legal consequences. But they've started an online petition. More than 14,000 people have supported it so far. Their goal is 15,000, basically asking that it be repealed and that families be allowed to decide, you know, how old their kids are, you know, can go, what age their kids can go trick-or-treating and that kind of thing.
Well, and, you know, a lot of times, too, you do have the older kids, you know, maybe the early teens, 13,
right,
14. They will help, and they'll take out the 7 or 8-year-old if mom and dad don't want to do it, or if you have a community where mom and dad maybe sit on the porch as the trick-or-treaters come up and hand out candy. The older brother or sister will take them out, and they'll go to the door, too, and get candy. They're still young. They still like these things. It's still fun.
Yes.
And these towns just seem to be taking that away. Like, no, trick-or-treating is serious business. We have to treat it this way. It's absurd. Just let them have their fun. One night a year. Come on.
I know. Is the vandalism that bad? Are you having such a string of problems that you've got to crack down? Because you're right. Half the fun of Halloween is the spontaneity, and it does seem to undercut that. So we'll see how they do with this online petition, Karen.
Right. Molly, thank you very much for telling us this story.
Yes, thank you.